Welcome to Fishbowl Sports. I'm here with Talk on Highland here on Fishbowl Sports here. Um, it's a great day to talk about LSU athletics here. Uh, Welcome in Bear and Juicy here. How's everything going today, guys? It is very cool, Bear. LSU's all over the place. It's the center point of Baton Rouge culture. As much culture as Baton Rouge doesn't really have compared to New Orleans and Lafayette, LSU kind of takes up that whole entire like residency. Because I really don't think there's much like real culture in Baton Rouge. Honestly, you might get a little bit more Spanish culture in there because it's part of Spanish parishes and stuff like that. But Juicy, how's everything going on your end, bud?
Everything's good, man. I had to last minute not come on last week because unexpected things happened.
I got you. That's all you can hope for there. So, let's Bear's gonna get mad when we start mentioning Bethune Cookman, but LSU did win the previous series against Tennessee. I thought they would have dropped that series there to be honest with y'all, but now they're heading into a more favorable series. Well, let me rephrase that. About the same technically. Ole Miss's RPI is 12 here, so they're gonna be on the road here. And LSU doesn't play as well on the road. They're 3-4 so far this year on the road here. So that does make me nervine about this matchup here against Ole Miss. We'll kick it off with Juicy here because I think Juicy. I don't want to get too negative too soon here. We'll kind of pump everybody up a little bit here before we start tearing everybody down. So, Juicy, what you thinking about this matchup against Ole Miss here?
Well, when you clean the errors up, sure they had gave up 7 unearned runners against Tennessee. They committed 4 errors Sunday, even though they still won. The big thing is the errors. But you know, you said you mentioned on the road they struggle, but they did win that series on the road against Tennessee. Yeah, coming up against Ole Miss. Ole Miss, all in all, kind of struggling along too here. So I mean, I like the matchup. I think LSU's got momentum winning the last 2 series. I mean, I think it's doable to win 2 out of 3. I hadn't decided yet, though. I'm gonna make my decision here as I hear you and Bear talk more about it.
Man, not you trying to follow the crowd, Juicy. I was trying to give you your own little spotlight on the stage, bro. Come on, take a shot.
Well,
Okay, okay, okay. You don't want to take the lead.
yeah,
All right,
all right.
Bear. All right, Bear. Where's my shovel, bud? I need my shovel to go dig this grave that we're about to go right,
Oh
but
yeah,
go ahead,
oh
Bear.
yeah. 90 Walton, 115 opponents, 204 unruns. They've given up 212 runs opponent. Let's see. They have a 973 fielding percentage. LSU's in the 950s or something like that. Oh, I guess over 10. Guess they pitched well enough to win, although it must have been William Smith and it sure wasn't well, I don't know what's going on with LSU here, but kind of in all the area competition. Hey, but Cookman's usually a regional team every year, so you can't sleep on them. But I mean, at this point, you need every win you can get, regardless of who it is. I mean, our RPI is what, the 50 right now, 60.
So,
You know,
um, so I want to throw this in there. Bear don't like the predictor too much, I don't think. But the predictor was correct last week, Bear. Predictor had them going it had them going 2-3, and I will bring the predictor into this here because the predictor has LSU beating Ole Miss 7-3 on Friday. It has them it has them winning 6-4 on Saturday. Well, you got it pulled up too, Juicy?
no.
Oh well, it changed. It did change on Sunday. It has them losing 4-5 against Ole Miss, giving Ole Miss that Sunday win. So, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like absolutely. They play like they did against on Tuesday night against like if they play like way against like Ole Miss, they're gonna lose. I think that's kind of the whole thing here. But you're not. I mean, you're not throwing your best people though either on midweek games. So to bring to bring up predictions for like you talking about Mayor about every needing every win here. So do you want? Well, no. Baseball America released their mid-season bracket thing, and they update it every single week. They have LSU currently as a 2 seed. I'm gonna bring it up real quick here, but I just want to throw that out there so people kind of know what's going on with that there. I mean, Ole Miss is a very good team this year. Like you were alluding to them kind of somewhat falling off a little bit there. I do believe that. So Ole Miss is. I mean, they have a losing record in the SEC, 5-7. Looking at who they played in the SEC is a very good gauge to see how they are. I mean, they did play against Texas, the number 2 ranked team in the country, dropped that series. They played against Kentucky. They won 2 out of 3 on that one as well. They got swept by Mississippi State, and they won the series against Florida. Now, granted, you're trying to figure out who they got a tough road ahead of themselves. Ole Miss, they got LSU, then right after following that, they got Southern Miss coming down midweek. So it's going to be tough on them for the next couple of next 4 or 5 days. Like baseball wise here, that's a tough road ahead of them there. So and then they got the Tennessee series ahead of them. So that's something that Ole Miss has to deal with here currently Ole Miss is RPI. They're currently ranked 12th, like I was talking about. They have the third strength of schedule in the country, third highest strength of schedule in the country. As it sits right now, their quadrant one record's 8-10. Their quadrant two is 1-0. So, in the top, basically top 50 that you're trying to look at this quadrant record wise here, which is what I like to base how good a team is. Really, that's kind of what I look at. And you're kind of somewhere around like if you're about 500 in that regard, maybe like 45% win percentage in that bracket, I'd probably put you around 30 or 40 as best team in the country around right there. Just based on what we've seen, right? This is it's a numbers game. It always will be a
I
numbers
mentioned
game.
I mentioned this to Bear the other day. Uh, Going back to 1992, since they expanded the NCAA regional, that it has given SEC teams that won 13 games uh, a, a bid into the tournament 100% of the time.
I mean that is true. You know that LSU currently is 6-6 in conference.
They're
So
about halfway there already.
So if you're trying to get 7 more wins, you got the Ole Miss series, and you got A&M, you got Mississippi State. South Carolina's a good opportunity to get some wins there. Georgia and Florida.
Did the
Yeah, I mean it's doable.
you got a team with a batting average of 3. They have a whole point. I mean, you already and have an opponent. You already. Well, their batting average as a team has gone up. It was like in the 270s. I mean, you're gonna not pick the three field percentage. Where did you know? Yeah.
You don't see it happening, Bear?
It's still early enough in the season to go on a run and get hot. No, they're not even halfway through conference play yet. So you expect them to get hot and go on a run? Actually, what?
The thing about this, I mean,
Anything
it's
can happen.
we have seen teams get on these tears and stuff.
Freaks and whatever.
I mean, like those are outliers, okay? Like they're not gonna not baseball teams don't normally get on 20 run games. I do want to put that disclaimer out there. Baseball is the most unpredictable sport in all the sports in all the college athletics. Okay, that is to sum up baseball basically in like 2 minutes here. But I'm just saying here what LSU is. LSU is the definition of a Jekyll and Hyde team. Okay, that is what they are. Now, granted, that's probably gonna call. I will say this. I'm just gonna say this though. It's going to cost them a crucial game in the postseason that they need to win. It's going to happen. That's what my prediction is for the end of this year. I don't know if it's going to be in the regionals. I don't. I'll make the claim right now that LSU will not win national championship this year. I do not think they're going to make it to Omaha because I just to win a championship you have to be consistent. Okay. Look, that's what LSU was. Baseball was last year. They were very consistent. Now, granted, you'll have 1 or 2 games slip up by you. That's baseball. You're gonna lose 1, 2, 3 midweek, 4. In the midweek. That's fine. Just it's not the end of the world. You'll drop a rant like a oops series. I call them like oh we let that team beat us. That kind of thing. It's baseball. Because if you try to go undefeated in the baseball and you're expecting perfection a 60 game schedule where you're just going to go 60-0. That is unrealistic. like baseball's a whole lot different than football in that regard. But to say this point here, I think LSU I think their ceiling this year is super regionals. I think if they're at their best and they stay there consistently through that postseason, I think super regionals where they're in their season at. Because I think it's gonna rear its ugly head at some point in that series, and it's gonna
They could
be
they could surprise Bear and most people and keep winning these series. They just somehow keep winning these series.
well, that's what LSU does. Every time you count them out, they do something crazy and win series, and they're not supposed to win. And they play down to the level of the team that they're. But like, there's only so much that they're like that you can take before you actually give up those kind of thing, and that's kind of what they've been doing. Feel they're so they're.
It's that
Go ahead.
Bear did mention is that LSU has outscored opponents 75, 70 in the eighth inning and later, which is like third in the country, in all the country.
That was a very interesting tidbit there. I did not know that, Juicy.
Yep, that's actually true. I saw that.
I did not. That wow. You know what? That actually, I'm pulling up the schedule now. Look at all the score and stuff. That makes sense. Very interesting there because LSU had a 5-run eighth inning in the on Friday when they played Tennessee. Um, they didn't have that. They didn't have anything in the. Well, they had 1 run in the ninth. Didn't have anything
That's
on
why I said
Saturday.
in games.
Well, the problem is with that approach, that'll get you to the regionals. That's good. That approach will get you to the regionals. You ain't gonna get out of them though. You gotta have the pitching when it comes down to postseason time, and I'll say that every single year until I'm in the ground. Okay, great pitching will beat great hitting every single time you go against it. Like I like my favorite game to bring up in recent LSU history is in 2023 LSU versus Wake Forest. That was a great baseball game.
Mm-hmm. It was scoreless in the extra innings.
Yeah, and great play at home saved LSU a national championship. If that run gets across, they don't win it that year. Can you speak up, Bear?
He's real low. Yeah, I mean, you had Paul King versus Red Howard.
Yeah, great series.
But I mean, man, you know that you have to have good pitchers. But can I also mention that you know how many times? Okay, so the 2023 team, we was always like, okay, so there's Paul Skeens, and then like, who else is the Paul Skeens? You know, we never we never had a consistent bullpen, but when they got to postseason, well, guess what? Bullpen all just like found another gear. Everybody found another gear. Now Todd Floyd was all right. Todd Floyd was remember saying, well, the pitching is what's going to be.
They found at the right time. Like that's why I said it's the hardest sport to predict. It is.
So even with this LSU team, I'm going to be cautious because we've already got burned a couple times with dog in the pitching in the year. Yeah, but I'm done. I've already given up all. There's no, I mean, there ain't no.
All right, Bear. Well, who you think wins the series, LSU or Ole Miss? this week.
They play on over.
So, like, it's I'm a counter you, Bear. I think LSU's gonna take 2 out of 3 against Ole Miss because they're kind of like in this weird spot that I think they might be about to maybe turn a corner. Maybe I don't know. I don't have any basis on this. I don't have any stats to back this up. But I'm only speaking from the pitching side of things here. This is about the time of year LSU really starts. Well, not really time of year. About the next 2 or 3 weeks that pitching should start coming around. If it doesn't, then because like Juicy was talking about in 23, we were talking some smack on Thatcher Hurd and he shut us up, which was good for him here. But I'm issuing the same kind of challenge we had on them this
Even
year.
last year's team, though, the bullpen wasn't like super great, and then in overall, they were like lights out basically. So.
Well, I think I mean, if you think about it, they got healthier toward the end of last year. They had some injuries last year, and guys started coming back in the later part of the year. That's why, kind of like last year, there was like a little bit of a dip in the lineup because they had some guys out, but then they came back just in time for Omaha and stuff, and that really added to the arm. And also, what helped LSU out last year, I know the bats wasn't like driving anything crazy last year, but LSU had one of the best defensive teams in the country last year, fielding percentage wise. That number was always going to come down this year. Yeah, but I mean, like their fielding percentage was high last year, extremely high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're like top. Yeah, I think they're like top 10 in the country last year. But anyway, that number was always going to drop this year. It's almost I don't know how many times high fielding percentage that high gets repeated. I don't think it's very often. So analytics would tell you because that's the nice that's the buzzword analytics these days when you talk about college athletics will tell you that statistically probability you're not going to be top 10 in fielding in the country, which everybody you kind of accept that because it's an anomaly that you're going to be up that high consistently every single year. It just happens that way. So I think LSU will take 2 out of 3. Northwestern State in the midweek next week. I think they should beat Northwestern State. Not saying they will, but I think Jekyll might. I think they might end up being Jekyll that night though too. So I'll give them losing to Northwestern State just because they're just so inconsistent. That's my prediction. I think they're just gonna kind of continue that road there. All right, so let's move on.
Well, but yeah.
Yeah, to LSU softball here as I try to move this active topic here. LSU softball versus Arizona. Big non-conference matchup for LSU softball this week here. Arizona is a very good team this year. So to kind of give everybody an RPI update for LSU softball here, currently at this live broadcast here on a Thursday night at 9:26 p.m. Central Time. RPI of LSU softball is 16. 1 through 25, they're 3 and 11. 26 through 50, they're 9 and 2. So they're in that 26 through 50 range technically. So they're 12 and 13 against top 50 RPI teams on the year. Their strength of schedule is 7. Non-conference is 15. They're 19 and 4 at home and they're 6 and 5 on the road. Neutral site, they're 1 and 4. So you can almost say they're not very good on the road technically. If we're gonna be honest about neutral site games, right? Still got a lot of travel with them. Anyway, so they have a interesting week coming up this week. You got a 3-game series against Arizona. Then they're gonna take on my alma mater, the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, at Lamson Park in Lafayette on a Tuesday night. So and they barely beat Louisiana that first time. They actually should have lost that game the first time. I like to bring that one up, but runner ran too early. But anyway, I'm not feeling too good about this series though. I think they will probably drop 2 out of 3, or maybe even get swept in this one. That's how big I am on Arizona. Bear, we'll start with you. How you feeling about this series?
Not very good.
So you're going with a sweep this week. Got the Bears got the broom out against LSU this week. Juicy, what you think about this upcoming week here of LSU and Arizona softball?
Well, it's hard to have any kind of positivity, but uh, like Bear said, Missouri trash. So I'm surprised they lost the game to Missouri. I honestly thought they'd sweep them. But I'm not too concerned about it though. They got shut out the Sunday game. Uh, but I'm trying to. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna pick them to win the series, but honestly, I'm not even fretting it because every time I pick them to lose a series, they always surprise everybody and end up winning the series. So I'm gonna pick them to lose, but I would be surprised if they won just because I pick them to lose. It's just almost like they do it on purpose or something.
They do it. They do it out of spite. That's kind of what Juice is going with here. Uh,
More directly, you know.
I'm not really quite sure, honestly. Kind of a belt. Oh yeah, yeah. Richard hit the transfer portal for LSU women's basketball. That's another news there.
Yeah, well, two in the last few games.
So it's gonna
Been
be
a lot.
an interesting one to say the least here. With all that going on. So I mean, we'll see what happens with all that there because you might even see people come back depending on how much money they have. But normally they're gone when they hit the transfer portal. They have a good deal and they're basically finite at that point. So I don't, you just got to do what you got to do at that point here. Just kind of set it up and just hope for the best at some point there. So that is something that you have to look and see with that transfer portal. It's kind of what we're all. Yep, I was actually gonna put that on my. We have that in our talking points. That's our next topic we're gonna talk about, Bear. Yeah, I had that added to the list here. But yeah. So LSU softball, they're gonna have to figure something out. I mean they've had a disappointing run, and I think that's just kind of like one of those things that you're gonna have to just work on here this year because it's just gonna be like, all right, like what we're gonna do, what's going on, that kind of thing. So
Just like made on 5.35.
so Well, we're going to talk about the Masters here because I want to talk about something kind of fun here. I mean, it is something kind of it's the biggest spectacle in golf, in almost all sports, honestly. Let me go find a talking. Yeah, let's go down to three. So LSU and the Masters. Bear, have you been keeping track of it there, or I mean, he's in the top five right now.
Here, we, we, we,
Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Camera froze up there. Got us back online here, though. But Bear, you were talking. Relay what you had to say.
oh no, it's not my fault.
What you think, Juicy, about all this like Masters with LSU and stuff like that? They've had a great run. What you think?
I'll be honest, man. I don't pay that much attention to golf if you really ask me. I'm just learning from those.
You need to be a man of culture, Juicy. Cultured men
I guess
watch
I
golf.
should.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of the greatest spectacle in sports that we look at and stuff, and it's always been a great thing to have in sports. So I mean, Masters is one of the ones that I watch clips on it. I don't watch the other broadcasts because I'm too busy watching baseball and softball during this time of year. But I do watch the clips and stuff of it, like on Sports Center or whatever. So it is very nice that this is going on here. So hopefully, former LSU Tiger can do great things whenever we get right down to it. So I think that's all the time we have for this episode here today. Fellas, anything you want to say before we get off here? We'll start with you, Juicy.
So I'm good, man. Thing, I don't have nothing to say.
All right, Bear, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, look,
Right. We'll have to see how everything shakes out this weekend here across all the sports here. Thank y'all for tuning in here to the talk on Highland here on Fishbowl Sports. Hope you have a great and wonderful night. We're gonna see y'all here next time here on Tuesday for Raging Fishbowl with my other co-host, Jalen. Jalen and I will break down everything that happens this weekend when the Cajuns take on Southern Miss in a big Sun Belt Conference baseball showdown here. So, a lot going on around everywhere. We're going to be ready to rock and roll next week. So, thank y'all for tuning in. Hope you have a great and wonderful day. See you next time here on Fishbowl Sports. Have a good night, everybody.
good night.